Before the final concert of my world tour, I received a notification of a 5 million yuan deduction from my bank card. After checking the transaction details, I found that my fiancée, Alicia, had purchased the Steinway Black Diamond piano I had custom ordered 6 months ago. However, just before my performance, that very piano appeared in front of Alicia's student. I raised an eyebrow and continued performing as if nothing was amiss. After the performance, I gathered all the students in front of me, casually wrapping my arm around her. A biased teacher isn't a good teacher. What Anthony has, the other students should have as well. That very night, Alicia maxed out her bank card, and in front of everyone, I announced the cancellation of our engagement. As the most famous pianist, I've never lacked for money or women. Chapter 1. Before the final performance of my piano tour, I arranged for several of my students to take the stage. I had taught them for many years, and now, as I had achieved fame, it was time for them to shine. Listening to the pieces played by my proud disciples, a sense of pride swelled in my chest. Noah, you seem in a great mood today. Hearing the compliment from the organizer, I couldn't help but smile. Indeed, I replied, my smile spreading effortlessly across my face. The thought of playing the Steinway Black Diamond piano that I had waited for more than half a year to perform on filled me with happiness and contentment. And that piano, Alicia had secretly purchased it. It seemed she wanted to give me a surprise. Even though she used my card, the fact that she did this for me was enough. I squinted my eyes, tapping my fingers to the rhythm of the piano. Just as I was eagerly awaiting the next piece, the expression on the judges' faces suddenly changed. I looked up and saw Anthony, who shouldn't have been on stage, playing passionately, and there it was, the piano I had been waiting for, right in front of him. I wiped the smile from my face and fixed my gaze on Alicia, who was sitting in the audience, her face full of excitement. Suddenly, everything became clear. The smiles of the judges froze on their faces, but out of courtesy, they didn't show much reaction. One of them awkwardly spoke up, "This young man's technique seems a bit raw, but the piano he's playing is excellent. A Steinway Black Diamond. Only a master-level pianist would own one. He's still young, but if his family continues to support him, he might do well in the future. But to reach the level of Noah, it will still take some time." These compliments did nothing to lift my mood. In fact, they made me feel even more uncomfortable. It was as if every word was mocking the standard I had set for my disciples. It's not about family background, but true talent. Now, here was Anthony, confidently taking the stage with such an expensive piano, announcing to everyone that he had come through the back door, didn't it? This was all Alicia's doing, but it was also to be expected. Perhaps it was my fault for giving her the authority to make decisions for the final concert. Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse me. Since it's the last performance of the tour, my students were so eager to perform that I decided to let them take the stage, I said, trying to explain. My assistant, picking up on the situation, quickly called up the other students who were close to Anthony's level to perform as well. That way, it made sense. No one could accuse me of favoritism. The rest of the students wouldn't feel left out. When it was finally my turn to perform, Alicia hurried over to find me. She must have come up with another explanation, but why should I listen? She wouldn't change. I walked past her with indifference and went on stage to perform. Unlike something I had been eagerly anticipating but was snatched away by someone else, I preferred things that were genuinely mine. At the most high-profile concert, I remained the confident, internationally renowned pianist, Noah. After the performance, Alicia chased after me. "Noah, please let me explain." The sound of her high heels echoed on the floor, drawing the attention of several people. I stopped, turned around, and raised an eyebrow at her. Alicia's words caught in her throat. After a long hesitation, she finally said, "I saw how hard Anthony was practicing, and I just wanted to give him a chance to perform. I didn't get angry. Instead, I smiled, my lips curling upward." Chapter 2. Alicia tentatively observed my mood and, seeing that I wasn't upset, relaxed a little. She wrapped her arm around mine and spoke gently. "When I see him, I can't help but think of you when you were younger. I'm also his teacher's wife, and I want to help him too." I smiled at her with the same warm expression. "I understand your good intentions, but a biased teacher's wife isn't a good teacher. What Anthony has, the other students should have as well." With just a glance, the 13 students who had come to watch the tour gathered around. In front of them, I spoke aloud. "That Black Diamond piano is a custom order from the master. It's priceless and unavailable on the market, but there's another model worth 3 million, and there are still 12 left. Gifts are a gesture of the heart, and I'm sure that the lack of $1 million or $2 won't be an issue." My assistant stood respectfully with the POS machine in front of Alicia. I put my arm around her waist, lifted my chin, and said proudly, "What are you standing there for? Don't you think you should thank your teacher's wife for the gift? It's well known that learning the piano burns through money. Those who are my students tend to come from wealthy backgrounds. 2 of them came in purely through talent. And over the years, they had earned quite a bit from their own performances. So, a 3 million yuan piano isn't considered extravagant for them, but Alicia's wallet would certainly suffer. It wasn't that no one had thought of this, but after a moment of awkward silence, everyone seemed to come to an unspoken agreement and didn't say another word. They simply thanked Alicia respectfully. Alicia's smile froze on her face. I tightened my grip around her waist and whispered in her ear, "What's the matter? Do you really want people to think you're being biased?" She exhaled sharply. "Of course not." With that, she handed over her card. Outwardly, she seemed unconcerned, but the knuckles gripping the card were turning white. After the payment was processed, I let out a genuine laugh. Anthony, standing among the crowd, wore a complicated expression, trying his best to remain inconspicuous. I looked at him softly and spoke. "Among all my students, you've been with me the longest, but your ability is the weakest. Your teacher's wife put in so much effort to get you the most valuable piano. If you don't work harder, wouldn't that be a waste of her good intentions?" Anthony lowered his gaze, his voice tinged with a barely audible crack. "I'll work harder." Alicia's eyes filled with pity, nearly spilling over. I wasn't interested in watching this tragic little drama unfold, so I walked off. Behind me, many people were discussing the performance. Anthony, whose playing was clearly not up to par with the other students, became the focus of everyone's conversation. Who is this Anthony? One bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. Does he really think he belongs here? Can someone like him get on a world-class tour through the back door? Look at that piano. This guy is no simple player. Even Noah doesn't make such a show of it. He really doesn't know his place. Anthony left the venue, his eyes red and his demeanor a mess. "Noah, don't you think this is a bit too much?" Alicia called me later that night, angry and hurt. I sneered in response. What did I do? She was speechless. The harsh words weren't my doing. They were the result of her thoughtless actions. I can turn a blind eye when someone is undeserving of their position, but others won't be as forgiving. Realizing she was just being unreasonable, Alicia shifted her tone. "All right, I should have thought this through. You've made your point. Let's consider this issue resolved." Alicia softened her approach, trying to smooth things over. I neither agreed nor disagreed. After a brief pause, she added, "How about tomorrow? Will you come with me to a reunion? Do you have time?" I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. "Send me the address." We were getting engaged in a week. As she said, I'd already given her a warning. Such a small matter wouldn't make me angry enough to cancel the engagement. As long as she knew her place and fulfilled her duties as my fiancée, I wouldn't create unnecessary trouble or make her uncomfortable. After I hung up, I didn't wait for her response. However, I could try to let it go, but she insisted on making things difficult for herself. Before the reunion, she came eagerly to pick me up from the office. Everyone at the reunion is an old classmate of mine. When we're married, we'll inevitably be in contact with them, so I thought we should get to know each other first. I accepted, treating it as just a social obligation. I thought she'd at least put some effort into making a good impression on me and her friends, given it was our first meeting. But once again, I overestimated her upbringing. Chapter 3. As soon as we entered the private room, Alicia's phone rang without her even greeting anyone. Looking at the caller ID, she hesitated for 2 seconds before saying, "I'll take this call." With that, she left the room without another word, leaving me alone with a group of strangers. I wasn't embarrassed, but I couldn't suppress a rising sense of distaste for her. The next comment from one of her classmates completely ignited my dislike. Been a few days, and Alicia's turned into such a busy woman. What's so important that she can even ditch her little lover? A man casually draped his arm over my shoulder. "Hey, you're Anthony, right? I've seen your picture on Alicia's social media. You look pretty well behaved in photos, but why do you look so aloof in real life? Are you shy?" I could tell from the way everyone in the room exchanged knowing glances that Alicia hadn't even bothered to introduce me properly to her friends before the reunion. I curved my lips into a smile and said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Alicia's fiancé, Noah." The room fell silent in an instant. The same classmate who had casually draped his arm around me froze, his smile plastered awkwardly on his face. Fortunately, Alicia returned just in time to break the tension. Many of the people in the room turned to her with pleading eyes, but she was too distracted to notice. Alicia looked troubled as she pursed her lips and said, "Noah, Anthony was really upset by what happened yesterday. He's been in the practice room all night." I glanced at her calmly, wanting to give her one last chance. "And what does that have to do with you?" Her last trace of guilt disappeared, and she frowned at me. "Noah, I'm his teacher's wife, and you're his teacher. If you don't care about your student, can't I, as his teacher's wife, at least show some concern? Do you know they say Anthony practiced the piano all night, and his fingers were bleeding? He's been trying so hard. Can't you stop putting so much pressure on him?" Alicia reprimanded me and sighed in the end. "He can only listen to me now. I'll go back to check on him. Please wait for me here." Without hesitation, she left, The other classmates had figured out what was going on. They soon realized it was all a misunderstanding. I must have had bad judgment to have mistaken you. Noah, I'll drink this one for the mistake. By the way, when's the wedding date for you two? Hey, Noah. I had no reason to stay any longer. Alicia had used up her last chance with me. As I left, I called my buddy. Out tonight. Let's celebrate the return to single life. After getting engaged to Alicia, I had been dutifully acting the part of a fiancé. I refrained from doing anything that might make her suspicious, but my respect for her was met with her taking advantage. Since she couldn't meet those expectations, I wouldn't force it. I'd let her be. While drinking, my phone buzzed continuously with Alicia's messages. Noah, you actually just left. Do you know how much you made me lose face in front of my classmates? What's the meaning of not answering your phone? You're the one who hurt Anthony's pride first, and now you're throwing a tantrum with me. I was kind to Anthony because I thought he reminded me of you when you were in his position. Now that you've become famous, you've become so out of touch with ordinary people's struggles. If you don't reply by the end of today, I think there's no point in us getting married. I smirked and flipped the phone face down on the table, determined to not return her messages until I was sober. For the next few days, Alicia didn't send me any more messages. The day before our originally scheduled engagement ceremony, both families began preparing for the meeting. I could already tell that Alicia hadn't told her parents about the broken engagement. It worked out well, though. Tomorrow, when both families were present, I could explain everything clearly. I'd drunk heavily with my friends these past few days and had enjoyed myself thoroughly. I returned to my apartment slightly tipsy, intending to freshen up and get some rest. But when I opened the door, the scene before me immediately sobered me up. The living room wasn't messy, despite having hired a cleaner to tidy up, but I could tell someone had been here. I held my breath as I surveyed the room. The towels and toiletries in the bathroom had been moved, and there were fingerprints on the living room piano. The bed sheets in the bedroom had been changed, and there were some stray hairs on the floor. Alicia's signature waves and Anthony's short brown hair were unmistakable. I smiled to myself. Some people were clearly trying to hide their actions, while others were leaving clues for me to find. How interesting. Chapter 4. I looked at the used condom in the trash bin and dialed my assistant's number. Call the police. Someone has illegally entered my apartment. The engagement ceremony wasn't particularly extravagant, but we did invite a few close relatives from both families. Alicia had arrived early. When she saw me, she flashed a smile and linked her arm with mine, trying to play the part of a picture-perfect couple. But seeing her feigned demeanor, I felt nothing but disdain. Her actions were like those of a clown, so unworthy of attention. I pulled my arm away from hers and brushed off my clothes. Alicia froze on the spot, visibly awkward. My parents quickly noticed the tension and asked, "What's going on between you two? Did you have an argument? If there's any misunderstanding, you should clear it up now. You're about to get engaged after all." My mom walked over and comforted Alicia, patting her hand. Alicia seemed to find comfort in my mom's words and spoke with a hurt expression. "It's just a small misunderstanding, and he hasn't spoken to me for days. I thought at least he'd pretend to get along in front of the elders." I sneered coldly. "What's there to pretend? Didn't you say you wanted to break up?" Alicia's eyes reddened. "I was just saying that in the heat of the moment." Both my parents and hers began to criticize me. "You're the man. You should be the one to compromise. Is there anything that can't be solved? You can't always argue over such small things. You're adults now. You need to be responsible for your actions." I raised my hand to stop them. "Of course I understand all of that. So, Alicia, how about you explain to the parents what happened between you and my student, Anthony, at my place last night? And what about the condom in the trash? Care to explain that?" "Alicia, did this really happen?" Alicia's father immediately turned serious, his voice rising in anger. Alicia stood frozen, unable to process the situation at first. My parents were also in shock. "Noah, you can't just say such things. Isn't there some misunderstanding? Alicia's a girl. She can't bear such slander from you." Alicia's mother stepped in front of her, a look of discontent in her voice. "But from the beginning, I didn't show the slightest hint of joking. Noah, I only bought him a piano. How could you slander me like this?" Alicia finally regained her composure and charged at me, aiming to slap me, but my father stopped her in time. My mother's expression also hardened. "What exactly is going on here? I know my son's character. If you hadn't done something out of line, he wouldn't be acting like this." Alicia took a deep breath and began to explain. "Mom, Dad, it's not like he said. Anthony and I have a clean relationship. Nothing happened. The other night, we went to Noah's apartment because we got our clothes dirty from a street cleaning truck, and we had nowhere else to go to change. Think about it. If there was really something going on between us, would we be so blatant about it?" Alicia's face was full of grievance, her eyes already brimming with tears. Her parents rushed to wipe her tears away sympathetically. "Noah, back then Alicia really liked you. And that's why the Sue family chose to arrange this marriage with your family. We didn't expect you not to appreciate her. We must have misjudged you. Now that things have escalated like this, I think we should call off the engagement." Alicia's father frowned and said solemnly. I raised an eyebrow. I should be the one saying that. "Alicia, we're calling off the engagement." My mother patted my hand to calm me down. "Noah, your father and I support every decision you make." But Alicia wasn't happy with this. As we turned to leave, she suddenly grabbed my hand. "Noah, why? You've condemned me without any proof. Do you know how this will destroy my reputation? If we're still getting engaged, you need to present solid proof of my infidelity first." Alicia said this with such certainty, her inner hurt and injustice spilling over. This made those around us sympathize with her. I smiled faintly. After all, the DNA test results wouldn't take much longer to arrive. "Fine, let's wait until the evidence is out, and I'll see how you explain this." Alicia's eyes flickered with a glimmer of hope, and she gritted her teeth at me. "I'll see what proof you have. I'm not afraid of being wrongfully accused of something I didn't do." Before she left, she dropped a final bombshell. "Noah, I had already forgiven you for your emotional abuse and planned to cooperate with you in front of our parents at the engagement ceremony today, but I didn't expect you to pull this stunt. You've really disappointed me. If you still can't figure out where you went wrong, there's no way I can continue this engagement. Think it over." Her words made it sound like I was the one in the wrong, but I didn't want to get caught up in her verbal traps. Since last night, I had already made my decision. Alicia's countless transgressions had used up the last ounce of patience I had for her, so no matter what her attitude was, I had already given up on her. Chapter 5. During the waiting period, I returned to the office to handle work. Now that the tour was over, there were still many affairs that required my personal attention. Social gatherings followed one after another, and after a few days, I was indeed feeling quite exhausted. As the last dinner party was nearing its end, my thoughts wandered elsewhere. I was considering where to go later to relax after successfully closing this deal. However, in the middle of the dinner, the door to the private room suddenly swung open, and an unexpected guest appeared. "Teacher, please, don't cancel the engagement with the teacher's wife. If I had known that was your apartment, I would never have gone there. Please, if you want to blame someone, punish me instead." The clients in the room looked at me with confused expressions. I picked up my wine glass and placed it gently on the table. "Sorry, everyone, I have some personal matters to attend to." With that, I stood up and left the private room. Behind me, Anthony hesitantly nodded and bowed to the people inside, then followed me out. I lit a cigarette, trying hard to suppress the frustration rising in me. I had planned to settle the score with him later, but now he shamelessly came to confront me. Well, if that's what he wanted, I'd give him what he was asking for. "Since you're so eager to admit your mistakes, I might as well acknowledge your efforts. Take your things and get out of my music room. From now on, I no longer have you as a student." Anthony's face turned pale, and he collapsed onto the floor in disbelief. "No, teacher. I finally made it in. You can punish me in other ways. You can even beat me up. I'm fine with that. But please, don't expel me." I sneered. "I thought you were supposed to have some backbone, but I don't take in students with impure intentions. People like you will eventually ruin my reputation. Now get out." I lifted my foot to step away from his hand. I hadn't applied much force, yet he suddenly toppled backward, his head slamming hard against the floor. "Anthony." Alicia's voice rang out from behind. She stared at me with wide, disbelieving eyes. I paused for 2 seconds before slowly retracting my foot. "Noah, I saw everything." Alicia rushed over to help Anthony up, urgently checking for injuries. "How do you feel? Are you dizzy?" Anthony, tears streaming down his face, grasped her hand. "I'm sorry, teacher's wife. I just wanted to ask the teacher to forgive us." With teary eyes, he looked at me. "Teacher, did this kick make you feel better? Can you reconcile with teacher's wife now?" "Enough." Alicia gritted her teeth. "What kind of skill is it for you to bully Anthony? Noah, you've really changed. Don't forget, 10 years ago, your situation was almost identical to Anthony's. But now, with your power, you've become the perpetrator." She carefully helped Anthony, and when she looked at me, there was nothing but disgust in her eyes. "I can't believe I was thinking about how to convince my parents to keep the engagement. I guess I was wrong again." Without hesitation, she supported Anthony and left. I stayed by the vent, smoking an entire pack of cigarettes. It wasn't the pain I felt, but rather Alicia's words suddenly brought back memories from the past. She always thought she knew me only after I became famous, but that wasn't the case. Many years ago, when I was just a penniless, struggling young man, we were already classmates. Her sympathy and regret for my past were merely the glossed-over version, polished by the shine of my current success. Just like now, she still couldn't remember how I had secretly been in love with her for so many years. Chapter 6. At that time, we were both attending the same prestigious high school. But my life underwent a complete transformation. The company at home suddenly had its cash flow cut off, and within a month, it went bankrupt due to financial difficulties. I went from being the admired young heir of a wealthy family to hitting rock bottom. During that period, it felt like I experienced all the malice in the world. My once close friends suddenly turned on me, mocking me cruelly. Those who had once flattered me took off their fake masks, no longer bothering to hide their true intentions. My parents had nothing left. They started from scratch, working hard to pay off debts, but they didn't give up on helping me transfer schools. They had already paid my high school tuition in advance. I didn't give up on the piano either. Except for my study time, I worked relentlessly to earn money through part-time jobs. In my most confused and difficult moments, Alicia appeared in my life like a ray of light. She casually saw me eating dry bread before a piano lesson with someone else. After that, she always used the excuse of not liking breakfast to shove food my way. She didn't just help me materially, she gave my heart immense comfort. When I realized I had feelings for her, I discovered that the motivation behind my hard work was to be worthy of her. I wanted to stand on my own again, at a place where I could stand side by side with her. But the road ahead was filled with hardship and anxiety. I watched as Alicia changed boyfriends one after another, and I, to her, was just a barely noticeable presence, someone she offered occasional kindness to. Finally, I waited for her to break up again. I gathered all my courage and appeared before her in the suit that my family had custom-made for my coming-of-age ceremony when I turned 18. I wanted to confess to her, but Alicia wore a puzzled expression on her face. She didn't even remember my full name. "Hey, what was your name again?" "Noah." "Why are you suddenly wearing this outfit? Did you borrow it to perform or something? What do you need me for?" She tilted her head, looking at me with a sweet smile. Embarrassment and humiliation flooded over me. I couldn't bear it any longer and ran away in a panic. At first, I thought she just didn't remember me, but later, I overheard a conversation she had with her friend. "Are you kidding? How could I not know what he's up to?" From the first time he appeared in front of me, I knew this guy had a crush on me. Although he's not bad looking, there's no way I'd date a poor guy. People would laugh at me. He's just not presentable. I'll just play dumb. This way, he'll take on all the issues out of his own inferiority, but still secretly adore me. I looked at the national piano competition trophy I had just won. In that moment, I felt like a joke. From then on, I stopped appearing in front of Alicia. As people came and went in her life, she quickly forgot about me. After high school graduation, I went abroad to study, and we lost contact. In the following 10 years, I slowly climbed my way to the public eye. I became a world-renowned pianist, with assets worth millions and tickets for my performances in high demand. Many rich young ladies and top celebrities wanted to marry me, but I never expected to see Alicia's name among them. Over the years, she had already set her heart on someone, needing to accept her parents' arranged marriage. When we met again, I saw in her eyes the same joy and satisfaction that I had once seen in my own. She had changed. She was thoughtful and considerate in front of me. When I agreed to give us a chance, she hugged me on the spot, like a little girl who had just met her idol. But I didn't feel happy. Instead, I felt confused. I had finally gotten together with the girl I had secretly loved when I was young, but I slowly started to realize that I didn't like her anymore. I watched as Alicia gathered details of my past, big and small. I saw her surprise when she realized we had attended the same high school, and in that moment, I felt a bit of hatred for her. I watched her fall, consumed by thoughts of me, with her heart and eyes only on me. I secretly vowed that as long as she was loyal to me, I wouldn't mind playing the role of a partner and providing her with emotional support. But she never changed. Less than a year into our relationship, she started attracting attention from other men again. Under the pretext of caring for my past, she tried to make up for it through Anthony. Now, she had crossed my bottom line once, twice, and even more. I had to admit it, I no longer loved her. Chapter 7. After Alicia left with Anthony, it seemed like she had found an excuse to be more open about her relationship with him. To cheer Anthony up, Alicia even took him abroad for a trip. I wasn't interested in their relationship, but I couldn't ignore Anthony's subtle public displays of affection and provocation. He'd post something on his social media, only to delete it less than half an hour later, something that only I could see. I watched them playing games on the beach, dressed in light clothing, or Alicia sitting in Anthony's arms, doing some crafts, private cinema, toasting with wine, camping in the same tent, and even selfies of Alicia in a bathrobe with Anthony holding her waist in front of a hotel's floor-to-ceiling window. "Noah, just admit defeat," Anthony said arrogantly, a stark contrast to his previous submissive behavior around me. "You think your little act of playing hard to get is going to make Ali change her mind? Don't be ridiculous. If you know what's good for you, just call off the engagement and leave Ali's side. What good is your fame? Your disgraceful past means you don't deserve someone like Ali. Her heart and body are already mine. She'll be much happier with me than she ever could with you." There was a smugness in his tone. I'll prove through my actions that Ali made the right choice. And one day, I'll surpass you and trample you underfoot. Anthony's childish behavior only made him more laughable. He thought every move I made was to win Alicia back. So he thought by saying all this, he could push me away. But they didn't know, I didn't care anymore. Not only was I not hurt, but I was also recording every one of his ugly remarks as evidence. When the DNA test results came in, I had my assistant compile the surveillance footage from the apartment entrance, Anthony's social media posts, and the phone recordings, then sent them to Alicia. I also handed the evidence to the media. In front of everyone, I decided to expel Anthony from my tutelage. At the same time, I broke off the engagement with Alicia. As everyone speculated about what had happened, the media released the bombshell news. In an instant, Alicia and Anthony became the targets of public scorn. What exactly did you tell Noah? Alicia instantly became the laughingstock of the circle. She couldn't reach me by phone, so she dragged Anthony out to confront him. Anthony's face turned pale, his voice filled with regret. I didn't expect him to release all of this. Ali, it's my fault. Alicia stared at him in shock. Are you just regretting leaving evidence of your own guilt? Did you really mean what you said to Noah? Anthony urgently hugged Alicia. Ali, you have to believe me. I just wanted him to give you up. You two were engaged, and if the engagement was called off because of you, it would ruin your reputation. So I wanted him to take all the blame. That way we could be together openly. Ali, I can see that you love me. But Alicia didn't hesitate to push him away, slapping him hard across the face. Alicia's eyes were filled with anger. What do you think you are? Do you even deserve my love? I've been good to you just for Noah's sake. I never expected you to be an ungrateful, two-faced snake. Anthony held his face, his expression frozen in disbelief. No, that's impossible. If you don't love me, why did you treat me so well? Alicia sneered coldly, her gaze full of disdain. I only liked you because you reminded me of Noah's situation back then, just a way to love him indirectly. I can't believe I was fooled by your innocent act. Anthony, you're a piece of trash. Anthony cried out. Alicia, I don't believe this. You treated me better than you treated Noah. Before Alicia turned to leave, he lunged at her, grabbing her arm. Please, give me a chance. I swear I'll be better than Noah. Ali, my reputation has been ruined by Noah. I've changed for you. It's all for you. But the only response was Alicia's indifferent back as she walked away. Alicia's family had some influence and spent a lot of money on public relations, which barely managed to protect her reputation from significant damage. But Anthony wasn't as lucky. After being expelled, he was almost completely blacklisted from the industry. No one dared to work with him anymore. Chapter 8. Alicia reclaimed everything she had given him, including the piano worth over $5 million. She also ordered for Anthony to be blacklisted within the industry. After all of this, Alicia relentlessly started pursuing me again. Noah, I know I was wrong, and I understand why you're angry, she said, but I was really wronged. Everything you misunderstood, I can explain it all. The once pampered, proud young lady was now desperately chasing after my car, shouting at me. I swear on my life, nothing ever happened between me and Anthony. That condom, and those photos, he deliberately set them up for you to see. He's just a poor guy. How could I possibly like him? Alicia's words snapped me back to reality. I almost let myself be fooled by her act. Alicia would never change. I waved my hand, signaling the driver to drive off. I let Alicia chase after the car, crying and shouting, until she finally fell to the ground, covered in dirt. After that day, Alicia seemed like a completely different person. She appeared before me with the same gentleness she had when we first met. Noah, I truly like you, so I respect all your choices. The engagement has been called off, but that doesn't mean I've given up on you. I'll still try, like I did before, to rekindle your love for me. Please give me another chance to pursue you. Let's start over. Okay. I coldly advised her. Don't waste your time. I continued with my work, leaving Alicia behind. No matter what she did now, it wouldn't stir any love or hatred in me. I no longer cared about her. I followed my family's arrangements and went on blind dates with new girls. Everyone was more outstanding than her, and they loved me more. I had no reason to look back. Several times, Alicia would book the same restaurant for my blind dates. She'd watch me chat and laugh with other girls, hoping to trigger some pity from me, but I would only give her a glance when she interrupted me. Seeing the impatience and disgust in my eyes, Alicia would wipe away her tears and leave quietly. Once outside, I could hear her sobbing uncontrollably, but the next day, she would appear again. She would bring up our past relationships, trying to rekindle my feelings for her, but it was all in vain. One time, while I was on a date with another singer, the girl playfully asked my name. I patiently wrote it in her palm. At that moment, Alicia froze, staring at me. She cried again. From the look in her eyes, it seemed she remembered everything. when the singer looked at her in confusion and asked, "Why is that woman crying?" "Noah, I'll go comfort her for a moment," she said. I was a bit worried, not knowing what Alicia would say to her. But by the time Alicia went to get a tissue, she disappeared. "How strange. Where did she go?" the singer said, not wanting her to get involved. I made an excuse. "She just left with a friend." The girl sighed in relief. "That's good." After that day, Alicia never came to see me again. I gradually forgot about her and started spending more time with the singer, Emma. She was young and initially didn't know anything about me. Our relationship was based purely on mutual interests, without anyone trying to use me, which I found refreshing. We quickly reached the point where we were discussing marriage. Our families were already picking an auspicious date. At this time, I heard some news about Alicia from my students. She had been emotionally manipulated by Anthony and, in a fit of rage, had accidentally destroyed his hand. As a result, Anthony could no longer play the piano, losing the last hope of making a living. In his despair, he pushed Alicia down the stairs when she let her guard down. This left Alicia in a coma, with no sign of waking up. Sue's family was powerful, and after Anthony was jailed, he would undoubtedly face a life worse than death. Before my wedding, Alicia's parents begged me to visit her once. "The doctors say she's lost all hope of survival. Please, Noah, save our daughter." I watched the elderly couple kneel before me. As I contemplated, Emma held my arm. "Go," she said. "I'll wait for you to come back." After visiting Alicia once, her condition seemed to gradually improve. When Emma and I got married, Alicia showed up at the wedding. She didn't say anything, just quietly stayed until the ceremony ended. The next day, she left the country. She only left a note saying, "I'm sorry." I think, at that point, she finally let go. And so, I began a new chapter of my life with Emma.